Well, welcome in. Edward Fuller here, local real estate agent out here in Salt Lake City, Utah. I've got a really great episode for you here because there's been so much absolute bonkerness going on in the market with rates going up, down, left, sideways. Nobody knows exactly what's going on. Obviously, inventories is still a hot button. So I've got a special guest I'll introduce you to here in a second. But in this episode, what we're going to do is we're going to cover some myths about mortgages, get into some of the actual meat and potatoes of what to expect, how to get prepared. You're going to want to stay tuned till the end because we're going to reveal our specific strategies that we're currently deploying for our people and making them super successful and getting them the homes that they truly want. So I'm joined here with Neal Bingham. Pleasure to meet you, my friend. I'm glad you could join me today. How's things going for you?
Oh, it's great.
Yeah?
It's going awesome.
So how long you been doing loans for?
25 years.
25 years. So
Yeah.
a long time. So you've seen, I mean, you saw 2008, like one of the worst times we ever had.
Yep.
So you've seen the market really move and do all kinds of crazy stuff. How do you feel about things right now?
I feel like the opportunity is big, which is opposite of what I think you would think or feel based off of interest rates and what's happened over the last 2 years. But because we've been through 2008, 9, 10, and the current market, I think it creates a unique opportunity for people that are in the know,
Right.
which really helps when you're connecting with professionals.
100%. So the first thing I want to touch on, because I feel like, people, they might get a little defeated, looking at the task ahead. I mean, buying a home is compared to like losing a loved one, which is crazy to think about.
Yeah.
So what are some of the things that people should prepare prior to their, getting their loan or talking with you? What are some of the things that are going to make it easier for them to get down the road?
Yeah, great question. When we talk with home buyers, a couple of things that they need to consider is credit. Certainly a big profile on that. Down payment, how much is needed, whether or not it's needed, and what does that look like in my budget. And so those are the real things. I know those are customary, but time is your friend if you have it.
Right.
If you plan and prepare ahead, that's a big deal in getting into the home, feeling comfortable. So preparation on those three things go a long way.
Is the big one. So as far as like documents, maybe what are some of the documents that they should go out and just grab these real quick, so that way when you ask for them, they've already got it, they're on point, and you're rolling away.
Yeah, pay stubs, bank statements, taxes, but not necessarily all your taxes, just at least have your W-2. If you're self-employed, we're going to need 2 years taxes, potentially 1 year, depending on how long you've been in business. And, again, the credit score. So documents-wise, those are the items that I would generally grab early.
Perfect. Obviously, we want to make sure that our people are prepared when they come talk to us.
Yeah.
And the better we can do that for them, it just lessens the impact of the stress, So
Yeah.
I feel like people miss the mark, a lot when it comes to getting ready, clearly. And then what are some of the myths that you've heard, and what are some things that people should know about loans as far as maybe their down payment or something like that?
Yeah, great question. So just to kind of back up a tiny bit is anytime you're considering a home purchase, just plan ahead like 45 to 60 days. Okay. If you give more than that, even better, but time is your friend. So what are some of the myths? The myths are, I need a massive down payment to get into a home. We hear this all the time. I need 20% down. That's not accurate. There are, when people contact me for their first home, we're talking about 0 down. We're talking about 3%, 3.5%, 5%. So there are factors that help with your home purchase. The higher your credit score, the better. The more down payment you have, the better. It opens up more options, but that doesn't prevent you from entering the market, even with 0 down. So there are great options. Just having time to survey those really helps. So we can help with credit score, helping you make adjustments to help those credit scores go up, to open up more options. So the myth is, I'm stuck.
Right.
I have no down payment. Maybe I think my credit's not good. Having a little bit of time a lot of those things we can help create a roadmap for you so that you can navigate those things and have options. Having options is huge.
Right. And obviously with the specific down payment that comes in close conjunction with the loan type too.
Yeah, exactly. The loan type depends. Your credit score will help dictate how much, what types of products are available to you. But the more time, again, time is your friend. That's the big thing that time can almost fix a number of things with some preparation.
Of course. So you just also you touched briefly on programs. So obviously there's a plethora of programs that people can take advantage of. What's the big one right now, and then maybe what's some first-time homebuyer programs that they could jump into to help them with that down payment?
Yeah, great question. So some of the things that are available right now are really discounts that are available for. You hear about mortgage insurance. If you're a first-time home buyer in a certain profile, you can get discounts on mortgage insurance. You can even get a 0% down. So one of the unique products that's available right now for first-time home buyers is 100% financing that gives you the gift for the down payment and then forgives that down payment. So it's better than what's generally marketed out there, because after 6 months, that down payment or that 3.5% goes away. And so I know it's stunning, right?
I'm like, what?
Yeah. So these are things that we can help you plan and prepare for, but does the general market know about that? No. They don't. They hear what's in the media or other things. And so that's where talking with professionals saying, hey, does this fit you? Do we want to help you get into a property now? And that right now, I think, is the huge opportunity in getting a great home at a great price. Don't let those barriers stop you from buying a home now, because it's one of the best opportunities there is right now.
And we'll get into the contrast of then versus now here momentarily.
Yeah.
With all your years of experience, what's the big piece of advice going into this market for the general public? What's the big one thing where you're like, this is what you have to do right now?
What's the one thing? I would say that the key to, I hate to be a broken record, but the key to a successful transaction is preparation.
Yeah.
So we can help you navigate those questions. And a lot of people are afraid to ask, what do I need to do? Professionals like us that can come in and help you go, let me show you a property that fits what you need. So it's helping them navigate. Do you need a 3-bedroom, 4-bedroom, 5-bedroom? Right. We're the same way with loans. We're going to help you navigate those things, because you hear about all these different loan products by name, and that gets really confusing. I think it's important for people to just take a minute and talk to a professional. I did a transaction with a person, this is extraordinarily long. They took 7 years to get to where they wanted to be. It was okay, because we're going to help you navigate based off the timeline that fits you. And so that's really important for us, is to help customize the experience based off what fits. It may not fit right now, but we're going to give you a roadmap to help you find that.
I love that. Yeah, it's all about, being prepared.
Yeah.
Really. Time. That's a big topic with you. Is making sure that you're giving yourself enough time to prepare for this, and understanding the, road bumps, and understand it's not always going to go smooth. There's going to be some things that we're going to be up against that were unforeseen, but we have to navigate those, and that's why we have good professionals like you. So
here's one of those other things that you asked. What's the big, takeaway? I would say that a lot of people look at their credit score and go, my credit is terrible. But they don't, there's what actually works. We can get borrowers into loans all the way down to 580, sometimes even more. But so don't let credit be the barrier. Let planning be your guide to help you get into that.
And with the 580, we'll touch on the type loan type. So loan types. So you have the conventional. The minimum score on that one is
620,
620.
but the premium where you'd like to be on a conventional loan is 680 or higher.
And then the FHA is also 620, correct? Or is that the low?
So that you can go all the way down to 580. FHA technically doesn't give you guidance that stops you at 580. It's more of lenders.
Gotcha. And then obviously we have VA and USDA, and those are obviously
like 640, 660, and those, VA is a fantastic product
for our veterans out there.
And we love to take care of our veterans. They've given, and so we want to help them navigate and see if that's a product that works well for them. Zero down, and
there's a whole bunch of good stuff about the VA program. I'm a veteran. I've used it. It was wonderful. It was absolutely incredible to get into my first home.
It's awesome. Yeah.
So obviously we've dealt with some really, really interesting market situations. From CPI data coming in absolutely just bonkers, and it wasn't even all that horrible looking.
Right.
But this recently the market reacted like a little toddler, in my opinion. Kind of threw a wrench in everything, and we watched rates. How much did they go up? Like what, a whole percent?
It was like 0.5%. Yeah, it took a pop, and different buckets moved in different areas, but it moved about 0.5% fairly quickly.
And so don't get too discouraged. Yeah, rates have obviously ballooned a little bit. Strategies, like you and I, we've talked about some strategies and what we're currently deploying for our people. What's a good one that we're trying to get people to these rates temporaries? Like what's the package that we're kind of deploying right now?
Yeah, right now it's a really good opportunity to get into a property. Sellers, I think you're helping navigate those transactions, but in a purchase transaction, we can help do what we call an inflation buster that I think is helpful in navigating a little higher rates. So in the event that the interest rate is a little higher than what you like, we can jump into maybe a 2-1 or a 1-year buy down, because the loan you're in right now isn't going to be the loan you're going to be in 2 years.
Right.
And so looking at it that way, ARMs are not necessarily priced well, but buy downs are. And the best way to do that is to do that through a purchase transaction and have the seller pay for that.
Yeah, that's a big thing. We don't want the buyer to pay for that. So seller concessions, obviously, we want the seller to pay for those, and we can get a certain percentage to get that buy down. What does that really actually do for them? Like, what does the buy down actually do?
Yeah, great question. I mean, the thing about buy downs is your rate actually does stay the same. But what the buy down does is helps you take a full percent off or 2, and it allows for you to start with the payment 2% below your start rate, or your actual rate. So if you're in the 7s, 2-1 would start you on the 5s.
That's great. Yeah.
5 and then 6 and then 7 on your 3rd year. But again, you're not going to be in the same loan in 2 years as what you are right now. It's just the dynamics of the market, and we've seen this over time, that we expect rates to make an adjustment. No one has a crystal ball necessarily to predict where they're going to be, but we do expect some of our performance or things that we've scheduled out show that rates are likely to be 1% lower in a year. But can you afford to wait for rates?
That's a great question. So looking at, so somebody's like, well, I'll just wait.
Yeah.
I'll just wait it out. So there's a couple, I wouldn't say bad things about that, but there's maybe a misconception about that. Oh, I'll just wait till the rate goes down.
Yeah.
So you and I, before we got on camera, we were talking about the amount of people that would actually jump into the market. So for every 1%, it was what, 5.5 million?
5.5 million.
Every 1%.
So competition begets really a lot more aggressive. We saw that a few years ago.
We saw at the beginning
when there were, you're right. As soon as rates took a little tick down, I mean, the activity level for us almost tripled. And, it gets a little interesting because right now there's a unique opportunity. Everybody's like, oh, should we put the brakes on again? I don't think we should, because the opportunity is massive right now. Because if you're doing what everybody else is doing, I mean, it's kind of like buying after the stock tip has already taken place.
Yeah, after they've already, blasted out, everywhere. Everybody's like, oh yeah, okay, it's a good time to go right now.
Yeah.
Obviously, so we're going to, and this is my opinion, I believe we're going to see obviously some home price increases.
Yeah.
Maybe in like the 2% realm. So what's the contrast of, okay, if I purchase now with my loan and I get a buy down, or I go 6 months from now when maybe the rates have come down. I believe we have the stats down there.
You know what? Yeah, I've got some statistics.
So these are
here.
really interesting, and we'll actually throw these up in the graphic as well, so you guys can look at them. So what's the contrast from now to maybe the end of the year?
So I'll give you. So what I did is I ran a scenario for Sandy, Utah, 850,000 sales price, and you can either use market data, historical, or projected. And so I used that to say, well, what happens if my home buyer decides to do now versus 6 months from now or 1 year from now? And it takes into consideration what rates are going to do and the cost of a refinance if that comes into play.
Okay.
And so the appreciation gain over 1 year is $44,800. So if I take into consideration the payment change in 1 year, which is at $209, and the cost of a refinance, we're still saving them $38,387. That's the cost of waiting 1 year. 6 months, it's $22,400. The cost of waiting is tremendous.
Right.
And so if you're waiting for values to come down, that's a long wait.
Don't hold your breath.
If you're waiting for rates to come down, you can do that, but the cost of waiting is much higher than buying now. And then again, making an adjustment. Let the rates be your friend.
Yeah.
Honestly, we can help navigate that. Find when it works best. Maybe if it's a first-time homebuyer, when we go to refinance a couple of years from now, or maybe 12 months from now, we help connect with the real estate agent to say, how does that value look now? Can we drop your mortgage insurance? Can we fix your rate? Can we get that a little bit better? So there's a number of values that come into that. But if you're in a 2-1 buy down or a 1 year buy down, you've softened that payment to help you go, I'm not going to feel this as much because I've got a seller paid buy down, and I'm going to adjust the rate when it fits me right.
And a big myth, so I can't believe I've heard this from a lender. This was kind of shocking. I talked to you about this. If you refinance out of that, you don't lose that money that seller put in there.
Yeah, we talked about this. Yeah, that's the reason why you don't want to pay for it yourself. Number one is you don't have the time to make your money back. If the seller pays for it, it actually sits in an escrow account that's contributing towards your monthly payment, whether it's 1 year or 2 years. But if you refinance or sell, that money in that account is credited back off your principal balance. So you're always going to get the full value of that buy down, whether you keep it for 6 months or 12 months or 24.
You're going to recoup it.
Yeah, you're going to recoup it if you don't use it. Yeah. So it's a win-win. That's
I like that contrast. The big thing also, that isn't taken into consideration, even in a high rate environment, we've already seen where at like a 6.5, we've got multiple offers on $650,000 homes, like 5 or 6. So maybe even on this, we could see a more inflated price by people outbidding or getting anxious and trying to get that property. So this realistically, I think, is more of a mild version.
Yeah.
So
no, it's pretty conservative because it is taking into consideration realistic values for appreciation. And we know Utah can sometimes get a little excited about values.
Yeah.
The other thing that maybe we can illustrate is just the cost of waiting on how much it costs. Your down payment goes up.
Oh yeah, there you go.
As well. So the difference in that today versus waiting a year was I had them put down 20%. So they were putting down $177,000 today versus $186,000 1 year. And that's just the exact same product, exact same transaction, but the value had gone up to where they had to use more cash to get into it. So.
And what was the difference in the payment?
About $250, $275 in monthly payment. There we go, the principal and interest. So it's
Not much of a difference from then to waiting. Like, I mean,
well, actually, yeah. The difference, I already referenced it as 209, so I'm a little high, but still $200 for waiting a year plus.
versus out of your pocket, which is a lot higher.
Yeah.
Well, Neal, this has been really great. Hopefully everybody got some really great value out of this. Hopefully we dispelled some myths for you, giving you some good information, showed you that it's not exactly as scary as everybody is making it out to be. It's always good to have a professional in your corner, somebody that can advocate for you, somebody that knows the market, somebody that can really tip the market in your favor and get you a great deal right now. Neal, brother, it's always a pleasure.
Thanks so much.
Follow us. I release videos weekly. Yeah, stay tuned. Here's some houses of the week.